In the annals of history, few figures stand as tall as Mahatma Gandhi, a man whose unwavering dedication to non-violence and justice made him an icon for generations to come. Born on October 2, 1869, in the coastal town of Porbandar, in present-day Gujarat, India, Mohandas Gandhi would grow to become a symbol of peace and resilience. His steadfast commitment to the principles of non-violence, truth, and civil disobedience helped shape India's struggle for freedom and inspired countless civil rights movements across the globe. Gandhi's journey began as a young law student in England, followed by his transformative years in South Africa, where he developed his philosophy of Satyagraha, a form of non-violent resistance. Returning to India, he emerged as a prominent leader in the fight for independence, using non-violent methods to protest British rule. His leadership in the non-cooperation movement, the Salt March, and the Quit India movement would earn him the title of Mahatma, meaning great soul. Though his life was tragically cut short by an assassin's bullet in 1948, Mahatma Gandhi's message of peace, unity, and non-violence continues to resonate throughout the world. His life and teachings serve as a beacon for all who strive to create a more just and equal society, embodying the enduring power of non-violent resistance in the face of oppression. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi's story began in the small coastal town of Porbandar in the western state of Gujarat, India. Born on October 2, 1869, into a modest but influential family, Gandhi was the youngest of 4 children. His father, Karamchand Uttamchand Gandhi, served as the Diwan or chief minister of Porbandar, while his mother, Putlibai, was a deeply religious woman who instilled in her son the values of truth, compassion, and non-violence. Gandhi's upbringing was influenced by the religious and cultural diversity of his surroundings. He grew up in a household that observed Hinduism, Jainism, and other traditions, and these early experiences would shape his philosophy in later years. As a child, Gandhi was shy and not particularly fond of school, but he would later become an avid reader, with a thirst for knowledge that continued throughout his life. At the age of 13, Gandhi entered into an arranged marriage with Kasturba Mukherjee Kapadaya, who would be his life partner for the next 62 years. Their union produced 4 sons, Harilal, Manilal, Ramdas, and Devdas. While his marriage to Kasturba was filled with ups and downs, the couple's unwavering commitment to each other remained a constant in Gandhi's life. In 1888, at the age of 18, Gandhi left India to study law in England, a decision that would transform his life. While in England, Gandhi was exposed to Western ideas and culture, but he also became more deeply rooted in his own Indian traditions. He adopted a vegetarian diet, joined the London Vegetarian Society, and began to study religious texts from various faiths. These experiences would later influence his beliefs in tolerance, equality, and the importance of self-discipline. After completing his studies, Gandhi returned to India in 1891 and attempted to establish a law practice. However, he struggled to find his footing in the legal profession. In 1893, a fateful opportunity to work as a legal advisor for an Indian merchant in South Africa presented itself, and Gandhi accepted the position. This decision would mark the beginning of a new chapter in his life as he confronted racial discrimination and developed the principles of non-violent resistance that would define his legacy. The early years of Gandhi's life laid the foundation for the remarkable journey that awaited him. From his humble beginnings in Porbandar to his transformative experiences in England, the seeds of his future as a leader, philosopher, and advocate for social change were sown. When Mohandas Gandhi arrived in South Africa in 1893, he had no inkling that his time there would be a crucible, shaping him into the legendary figure he would become. In South Africa, Gandhi encountered racial discrimination firsthand, which served as a catalyst for his awakening as a social activist and the development of his unique philosophy of Satyagraha. Gandhi's experiences with racial prejudice began shortly after his arrival, when he was forcibly removed from a train for sitting in a first-class compartment reserved for white passengers. This incident and others like it opened Gandhi's eyes to the harsh realities of racial segregation and the plight of the Indian community in South Africa. Driven by a sense of duty to fight injustice, he decided to stay and work towards dismantling the discriminatory laws that oppressed his fellow Indians. During his time in South Africa, Gandhi began to evolve the philosophy of Satyagraha, which translates to truth, force or soul, force. Drawing inspiration from various religious and philosophical traditions, Satyagraha called for non-violent civil disobedience as a means to resist oppressive laws and systems. Gandhi believed that by adhering to truth and non-violence, individuals could challenge injustice without resorting to violence or hatred, ultimately leading to lasting change. Gandhi quickly emerged as a leader within the Indian community in South Africa, organizing and mobilizing his compatriots to stand against discriminatory practices. He founded the Natal Indian Congress in 1894, which aimed to address the grievances of the Indian population and advocate for their rights. Gandhi also started a newspaper called Indian Opinion, which became an important platform for expressing the struggles and aspirations of the Indian community. In 1906, Gandhi faced his first major test in the form of the Asiatic Registration Act, a law that required Indians to register with the government and carry identification passes. Recognizing the potential for abuse and further discrimination, Gandhi organized the Indian community in a campaign of non-violent resistance. The ensuing struggle, known as the Satyagraha campaign, was marked by acts of civil disobedience, protests, and imprisonments. Over the next 8 years, the Indian community persevered, and the government eventually repealed the law in 1914. Gandhi's time in South Africa also saw him adopt a simpler lifestyle, wearing traditional Indian clothing and embracing a life of voluntary poverty. He established the Phoenix settlement and later the Tolstoy farm, intentional communities where he and his followers lived and practiced the principles of Satyagraha and self-sufficiency. By the time Gandhi left South Africa in 1914, he had transformed from a relatively unknown lawyer into a seasoned activist and leader. His experiences in South Africa not only molded his philosophy of Satyagraha, but also prepared him for the monumental task that awaited him upon his return to India, the fight for independence from British rule. The principles he developed and the lessons he learned during his time in South Africa would become the bedrock of India's struggle for freedom and inspire generations of activists around the world. In 1915, Mohandas Gandhi returned to India, armed with the philosophy of Satyagraha and a wealth of experience in fighting injustice. He arrived at a time when India was ripe for change, with growing unrest against British colonial rule. As Gandhi immersed himself in the Indian independence movement, his principles of non-violence and civil disobedience would play a pivotal role in shaping the course of India's struggle for freedom. Gandhi's return to India marked the beginning of his ascent as a leader in the Indian National Congress, Inc., a political party that would be instrumental in the fight for independence. Under Gandhi's guidance, the Inc. transformed from an organization of elite intellectuals to a grassroots movement that engaged people from all walks of life. Gandhi's leadership, vision, and ability to connect with the masses made him a unifying figure, and he soon earned the title Mahatma, or Great Soul. One of Gandhi's first major campaigns in India was the non-cooperation movement, launched in 1920. The movement sought to weaken British rule by urging Indians to boycott British goods, institutions, and services. Gandhi encouraged Indians to embrace self-reliance by spinning their own cloth, a symbolic act that became synonymous with the independence movement. The non-cooperation movement garnered widespread support, and although it ultimately ended in 1922 due to instances of violence, it demonstrated the power of non-violent mass action and set the stage for future campaigns. In 1930, Gandhi led one of his most iconic protests, the Salt March. This 240-mile march from Sabarmati Ashram to the coastal village of Dandi was a response to the British monopoly on salt production and the tax imposed on it. By making salt from seawater, Gandhi and his followers committed an act of civil disobedience that captured the world's attention. The Salt March sparked similar acts of defiance across India, and it played a crucial role in mobilizing the masses and galvanizing the independence movement. Throughout the 1930s, Gandhi continued to advocate for Indian independence, engaging in negotiations with British authorities and participating in the Round Table conferences in London. His dedication to non-violence and his willingness to suffer for his cause earned him respect both in India and internationally. However, it also led to multiple imprisonments by the British, with his longest stint lasting more than 2 years during the early 1940s. As World War II raged on, Gandhi saw an opportunity to intensify the struggle for independence. In 1942, he launched the Quit India movement, a campaign that demanded the immediate and unconditional withdrawal of British rule. The movement was marked by widespread civil disobedience, including strikes, protests, and acts of sabotage. The British responded with harsh repression, arresting Gandhi and other INS leaders. Despite facing considerable challenges, the Quit India movement played a significant role in hastening the end of British rule in India. Gandhi's unwavering commitment to non-violence, truth and justice made him a towering figure in the Indian independence movement. His leadership in the Indian National Congress, the non-cooperation movement, the Salt March, and the Quit India movement shaped the course of India's struggle for freedom and inspired countless people to join the fight. In a world ravaged by war and conflict, Mahatma Gandhi's steadfast adherence to the principles of non-violence and civil disobedience served as a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of peaceful resistance in the face of oppression. At the heart of Mahatma Gandhi's legacy lies his philosophy of non-violence and Satyagraha, which guided his actions throughout his life and inspired countless others to seek social change through peaceful means. Central to his philosophy were the principles of ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truth, and civil disobedience, which collectively formed the basis of his approach to resisting injustice and oppression. Ahimsa, the principle of non-violence, was rooted in the belief that causing harm to others would only perpetuate the cycle of violence and suffering. Gandhi held that non-violence was not merely a passive resistance, but an active force for good. He argued that by adhering to non-violence, individuals could challenge injustice and oppression without resorting to hatred or aggression, ultimately fostering lasting change and healing divisions. Satya, or truth, was another cornerstone of Gandhi's philosophy. He believed that truth was the ultimate goal in life, and by remaining steadfast in the pursuit of truth, individuals could overcome their own weaknesses and biases. For Gandhi, truth transcended mere factual accuracy. It encompassed a deeper understanding of one's own beliefs and actions, as well as a commitment to ethical and moral behavior. Civil disobedience was the third pillar of Gandhi's philosophy, providing a means to challenge unjust laws and systems through non-violent resistance. By refusing to comply with oppressive policies, individuals could demonstrate the moral bankruptcy of such laws and provoke change. Gandhi's methods of civil disobedience included boycotts, strikes, and non-cooperation, which collectively aimed to weaken the structures of power that perpetuated injustice. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence and Satyagraha had a profound impact not only on India's independence movement, but also on civil rights movements around the world. His teachings inspired leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. and the American Civil Rights Movement, which embraced non-violent resistance in their struggle for racial equality. Similarly, Nelson Mandela and the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa drew upon Gandhi's principles to fight against the oppressive system of racial segregation. The influence of Gandhi's philosophy extended beyond the realm of political and social activism. His emphasis on self-reliance, simplicity, and living in harmony with nature resonated with environmental and sustainability movements, while his belief in interfaith understanding and tolerance contributed to global efforts to promote peace and dialogue among different religious and cultural groups. Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violence and Satyagraha remains a powerful testament to the potential of peaceful resistance in the face of injustice and oppression. His unwavering commitment to these principles inspired generations of activists and ordinary citizens alike, providing a blueprint for effecting change through non-violent means. As the world continues to grapple with conflict and division, Gandhi's teachings serve as a reminder that the path to justice and harmony lies in our collective commitment to truth, non-violence, and the courage to stand against injustice. Mahatma Gandhi's religious beliefs and spirituality were central to his life and deeply intertwined with his philosophy and approach to social change. While he was a devout Hindu, Gandhi was also a strong proponent of interfaith understanding and respect, believing that all religions were different paths to the same truth. Gandhi's adherence to Hinduism was characterized by a focus on the core values of truth, non-violence, and self-discipline. He drew inspiration from the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred Hindu text, which he considered a guide to righteous living and spiritual growth. For Gandhi, religion was not merely a set of rituals and practices, but a way of life that imbued every aspect of his daily existence. Despite his deep commitment to Hinduism, Gandhi was also profoundly influenced by the teachings of other religions, including Jainism, Christianity, and Islam. He believed that all religions contained elements of truth, and by learning from these diverse traditions, he was able to enrich his own understanding of spirituality and morality. This open-minded approach to religious beliefs enabled Gandhi to forge connections with people of different faiths, fostering a sense of unity and respect among diverse communities. Gandhi's spirituality had a profound impact on his life and philosophy. His commitment to truth and non-violence, for instance, was rooted in his spiritual beliefs and the conviction that these principles transcended religious boundaries. His emphasis on simplicity, self-discipline, and inner reflection was also a reflection of his spiritual journey, which informed his political activism and dedication to social change. In essence, Mahatma Gandhi's religious beliefs and spirituality were the lifeblood of his mission, guiding his actions and imbuing his philosophy with a profound sense of moral purpose. His inclusive approach to faith and spirituality allowed him to bridge divides, inspire unity, and promote a message of peace, tolerance, and love that continues to resonate across the world. On January 30, 1948, Mahatma Gandhi's life was tragically cut short when he was assassinated by Nathuram Godse, a Hindu extremist who opposed Gandhi's vision of a secular and inclusive India. The news of his death sent shockwaves through India and around the world, plunging the nation into a state of grief and mourning. In the aftermath of his assassination, people from all walks of life came together to pay tribute to the man who had dedicated his life to the cause of Indian independence and social justice. Leaders from around the world expressed their condolences, recognizing the loss of a visionary who had sought to change the world through non-violent means. The United Nations observed a moment of silence in Gandhi's memory, and his funeral procession was attended by millions of Indians, a testament to the profound impact he had on his country and its people. Gandhi's legacy endures well beyond his death, with his teachings continuing to inspire individuals and movements across the globe. His commitment to non-violent resistance and civil disobedience played a pivotal role in India's eventual independence from British rule, setting a powerful example for other colonized nations seeking their own liberation. Gandhi's influence extended far beyond the borders of India, as his philosophy of non-violence and Satyagraha became a guiding force in global civil rights movements. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and the American Civil Rights Movement were deeply inspired by Gandhi's teachings, as were Nelson Mandela and the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. By demonstrating the power of non-violent resistance, Gandhi's legacy has empowered generations of activists to challenge injustice and oppression without resorting to violence. Moreover, Gandhi's commitment to interfaith understanding, environmental sustainability, and social equality continues to resonate with contemporary movements and leaders who seek to address the pressing challenges of the modern world. His emphasis on simplicity, self-reliance, and living in harmony with nature serves as a powerful reminder of the need for sustainable development and responsible stewardship of the planet. In conclusion, the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi marked the end of a life dedicated to the pursuit of truth, justice, and freedom. His unwavering commitment to non-violence, civil disobedience, and his belief in the inherent dignity and equality of all people has left an indelible mark on the world. The legacy of Mahatma Gandhi continues to inspire and guide those who seek to make the world a more just, peaceful, and compassionate place. While Mahatma Gandhi is widely revered for his contributions to Indian independence and his philosophy of non-violence, he was not without his critics and controversies. Some of the criticisms leveled against Gandhi pertain to his views on caste, his relationships with his family, and the complexities of his non-violent approach. Gandhi's views on the caste system have been a subject of debate among scholars and activists. While he consistently denounced the practice of untouchability and worked to uplift the marginalized Dalit community, he was also criticized for advocating the continuation of the traditional Varna system. Critics argue that this stance was inherently contradictory to his fight for social justice and equality. However, it is worth noting that Gandhi's views on caste evolved over time, and by the end of his life, he was advocating for the complete abolition of the caste system. Gandhi's relationships with his family have also been scrutinized, particularly his treatment of his wife, Kasturba, and his children. He imposed a strict regimen of self-discipline on his family, which included celibacy, fasting, and adherence to a simple lifestyle. These demands led to tensions within the family, and critics argue that Gandhi's expectations were overly harsh and uncompromising. The complexities of Gandhi's non-violent approach have also been a subject of discussion and criticism. While his commitment to non-violence was unwavering, some argue that the practical application of his principles was not always consistent. For instance, during World War II, Gandhi supported Britain's involvement in the war effort, despite his commitment to non-violence. Critics also contend that his focus on personal transformation and self-discipline could, at times, detract from the broader struggle for social and political change. Despite these criticisms and controversies, it is important to recognize that Gandhi's life and work were characterized by a deep commitment to the pursuit of truth and justice. His willingness to re-evaluate his beliefs and practices in light of new experiences and insights demonstrates a level of intellectual honesty and moral courage that is rare among public figures. While it is necessary to acknowledge the complexities and contradictions inherent in his life and philosophy, the lasting impact of Mahatma Gandhi's contributions to social justice and non-violent resistance cannot be denied. Mahatma Gandhi's life and legacy continue to inspire and challenge us as his unwavering commitment to truth, non-violence, and social justice transcended borders and generations. Born in Porbandar, India, Gandhi's early experiences of racial discrimination in South Africa shaped his philosophy of Satyagraha and non-violent resistance. Upon returning to India, he played a pivotal role in the Indian independence movement, leading the Indian National Congress and organizing mass movements such as the Non-Cooperation Movement, the Salt March, and the Quit India movement. Gandhi's unique philosophy of non-violence and civil disobedience resonated with people across the globe, influencing civil rights movements and leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. His teachings on interfaith understanding, self-reliance, and simplicity continue to hold relevance in contemporary discussions around environmental sustainability and social equality. While Gandhi's life was marked by controversies and criticisms, his pursuit of truth and willingness to re-evaluate his beliefs demonstrate his moral courage and intellectual honesty. In a world grappling with divisions and conflicts, Mahatma Gandhi's legacy serves as a powerful reminder that the path to justice, peace, and unity lies in our collective commitment to truth, non-violence, and the courage to stand against injustice.